Hello and welcome to Sorare Gallery Builder Episode 1. Been a long time coming. The backstory of this series is that Jonathan, my first guest, approached me probably over a month ago now, mate, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
definitely over a month ago, with an idea to start a new series in which myself and whoever's on the video with me will basically compete against each other to build a specific valued Sorare gallery. Episode 1 today is going to be £200. So myself and Jonathan are going to basically try and build a Sorare gallery for £200 each. You guys watching at home are going to decide whose gallery is better. So in the comments, you're going to explain why you think my gallery is better than Jonathan's or vice versa. So if I have less comments than Jonathan, I'm going to be giving away a limited card at random to somebody in the comments. Think I've explained it well enough, I hope. Jonathan, welcome to the first episode. You are the creator of this series, and it would only be right to have you on as the guest of the first episode. How are we doing?
I'm good. Pleasure to be here. Really happy to get this going.
No, I appreciate it a lot. Well, first of all, I appreciate you, approaching me to, with the idea. You could have approached anybody, and I'm really, really excited to get going. I've got my £200 gallery ready to show the guys at home, and obviously to show you as well. You have the same. We will kick off with your gallery first. Of course, as always, please do leave a like and share it with somebody who you think might find value. That's maybe potentially new to Sorare and is looking to figure out what to do with £200, starting out on Sorare. So who is in your £200 Sorare gallery?
The main concept of my gallery is international utility. The main reason for that, like if you follow me on Twitter, you will see that I'm targeting the international game weeks because those game weeks are the easiest, in my opinion, to win rewards because not a lot of people compete in them with serious teams. So I will start with the first international player, which we will stick into the La Liga semi-pro competition. So 4 commons and 1 limited. It will be Stol Dimitrievski, the goalkeeper from Rayo Vallecano. He's costing €53, which is a little bit expensive for the semi-pro competitions. But if you will take a look on his scores, you will see he will have peak scores, like 80s and 90s, because he makes a lot of saves and is the goalkeeper of North Macedonia, so he has that guaranteed international utility. It is not ideal to play semi-pro with a goalkeeper, but in my opinion, you can have an advantage with Dimitrievski as your goalkeeper in the semi-pro. The next player I will add to the watch list is Manor Solomon, the Israeli lad from Fulham. He scored at the weekend a great goal against Nottingham Forest. Also international utility, and at €10 maybe you can get him on auction. He will have great utility. In my opinion, he will be a starter for Fulham soon. In the weeks he's playing for the Israel national team, he's getting above 60 scores like every time. He's decisive capable, and he's our Premier League semi-pro player in this gallery. The next player I will look at is Leandro Barrero from Mainz, Luxembourg international player, and we will stick him in also around €14-15, and we will stick him into the Bundesliga semi-pro competition with 4 commons. Leandro Barrero, also if you take a look on the scores, for his price, you're getting a great Bundesliga player, and for Luxembourg, he already got a 100 score, like the perfect score in Sorare. So he's a great player to have in the international game weeks. And as I said, that is the theme of the gallery. And the last player we will have for the semi-pro competition is actually someone from the MLS, which we don't have a semi-pro competition at the moment, but we will get it soon enough when the MLS returns. It is Karl Swiderski from Charlotte FC, Poland striker, €24 for his limited cards, and a great scorer on Sorare, a great player for Charlotte. He is not guaranteed starter for Poland, but in my opinion, he will be soon enough. Arkadiusz Milik is not good enough, and he is not starting. He played at the World Cup like Swiderski. Great player, and he's the main man for Charlotte at top. So he's the last player that we have in the semi-pro competition. So as you can see at the moment on the watch list, we have 4 players for the semi-pro competition, and the next competition we will target in my gallery is the Cup 240. So we will have here a little Hoffenheim stack. They're not playing that good at the moment, but traditionally Hoffenheim are great team in the Bundesliga. I believe they will get their things together soon enough, and they will come back and perform. The 3 players from Hoffenheim we will start with the goalkeeper, Oliver Baumann, 20 L15. Like you can understand, he's not doing that good at the moment at all, but that is the best time to pick him up.
True.
You
Yeah.
you also need to remember that. So at 40 euros for the starting goalkeeper of a Bundesliga team, you really can't go wrong with that. And they also have the new manager now. They will sort it out, I believe. And because they are playing so bad, like 37 and 15, 35 and 34, they are perfect for the cup competition.
Yeah.
So we have Baumann in goal. He's not an international player, but we have Dimitrievski, so we are good there. We have John Brooks. Also, I'm not sure if we will play for the United States, but we will have a defender who is international. You will see soon enough. And Thomas Delaney, another international player for Denmark. Yeah. Denmark, a great player, a proven player in the Liga for Sevilla. You can get his card for €4. You can get John Brooks. So this Hoffenheim semi-stack costs you around €50. That's it. Really good price. With low L15, you will have a lot of time to use them in the Cup 240 to get that €5 to compete for rewards when they perform. That is the Hoffenheim semi-stack, and we need 2 more players in the gallery to have a full Cup 240 team. So we will have Ty Baribo, who scored in the weekend, the best player in his team in Wolfsburger in the Austrian Bundesliga. He wanted to leave in the last transfer window, and his team didn't let him go to to Vancouver in the MLS because he is so important to them. He plays every game. He scores a lot of goals, and at around €10, you are getting here an L starter. And in my opinion, he will get that international starting spot for Israel. He will be our main man up top with Solomon, Abada, and Oscar Gloch on the attack. He will get those decisives on the international game weeks. We have the striker, and we need 1 more player, the extra player, finish the gallery. This will be the Israel vice captain, Eli Dasa. At Dynamo Moscow, the Russian league isn't back yet. That is one of the problems in my gallery, that you have a lot of different leagues. But Eli Dasa is a great player. A joke of price, €3 for him. Really, you can't go wrong with that. The Israel vice captain, and he didn't start that well at Russia, but he is a nail starter, and I believe that Dynamo Moscow will be better in the second half of the season. And I really believe in Eli, that he will get things done there. When he played at Vitesse in Netherlands, he was one of the best right backs in the league. He can get assists. He has the AA game in him. Great player for the cup mode. So you have the 5 players for the cup. You have your MLS players, so you don't get bored in the summer period. And you have the 3 other players, Dimitrievski, Barreiro, and my man Solomon, to compete in the semi-pro competition and in the international game weeks.
I don't think if you gave £200 to 100 experienced players maybe on Sorare, I don't think any of them would target what you've gone and targeted there, which is obviously not a bad thing. I think it's really, really unique, the whole sort of international utility, because it is a time where, if your gallery's right, you can pick up rewards, because obviously there is less players competing, there's less international players than there is domestic, so clearly there's just not as many teams out there, right? But this is really interesting how, with £200, the whole dual utility. Not only does Solomon play in the Premier League, not only do these players, play domestically, there is that added bonus of, when the internationals do come round, you're going to be in a very good position to pick up rewards, especially in for the most, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but groups where Israel play, they normally play against like teams that just aren't that great, right?
Yeah. If you take a look on the Euro qualifiers, which is the competition we will be in the next year,
yeah,
Israel, except for Switzerland, which we will probably lose to, the other 5 teams in the group we should beat. We should get into the Euros these times with Solomon, Baribo, Dasa, all the players you have in this gallery.
Yeah.
And also the other players like Dimitrievski will get so much saves done, so much AA game, like all around score for North Macedonia. Like, look, Luxembourg can't play without Leonardo Barrero. Every player you have in the gallery, like almost every player, is a key part in the international team.
I think it's a really interesting strategy. I personally didn't go down that road myself, but that's the whole point of this. We're sort of bringing different dynamics and different dimensions to what someone or what we would do, I guess, with the same amount of sort of capital. And yeah, for me, I'm looking to enter 5 competitions. The 5 competitions are going to be the Premier League 270 Pro, which is 1 common player and you need 4 limiteds. I'm then going to be entering the Premier League Semi-Pro, which is 1 limited and 4 commons. And then I'm going to be entering the Bundesliga Semi-Pro, which is the same as the Premier League Semi-Pro. I'm going to be entering the La Liga Semi-Pro, and then the MLS Semi-Pro when that does come out. I think the MLS starts the weekend of the 27th or 28th of February, so 2 weeks from now. And yeah, my goal was to sort of compete in those 5 competitions. I'll show you first the guys that I've picked up for the Premier League Pro competition. So the 270 Pro, I've gone for a bit of a Brighton stack. So I've gone with the big man Lewis Dunk in defense, and to partner him, we're going to go with Pervis Estupinan, who, to be fair, does have a bit of international utility. He doesn't play in Europe, plays for Ecuador, but regardless, he does play for his national team, and a very good player at that. The L15s aren't crazy high. Dunk's is average, 49. 42 for Pervis is quite low, considering I think he's hit 100 on the weekend. Actually, he got an assist, I believe, in Brighton's game. So yeah, a player that can hit peak scores. There's high variance in wing backs as usual. So that's something, if you're a new player, basically wing backs either score like really bad or like really, really good. Where like somebody like Lewis Dunk, his scores are going to be a little bit more stable. Where his average is 49, he's not going to really be like skewing way too high above that, and he's not going to be skewing way too below that. It's always in and around that 49, where Pervis is like 100 and then like 20. Obviously, we would partner this with a common Sanchez, Robert Sanchez, who is the goalkeeper for Brighton. Obviously, you don't need to spend any money on him. He is a common card. As well as that, we are going to go with a Pascal Gross. Pervis is going to set me back around £18. Lewis Dunk is going to set me back around 17 at floor price, and then Pascal Gross, who is our latest addition, is going to cost us around £23. A player that takes set pieces, again, another Brighton player to go with our stack. I rate him really highly, very technical player, does score better than Estupinan and Dunk, on paper. His L15 is a lot higher. But yeah, if you want a chance of, winning prizes in this Premier League 270 Pro League, you're going to need to hit some good scores on good weekends. Basically, this team is going to be centered around, Brighton obviously getting a clean sheet, right? The clean sheet is going to be huge. I've got 2 defenders. I've got Sanchez as my common. I don't necessarily need Brighton to win the game, but obviously if they do, Gross is hopefully going to be involved somewhat, decisively, whether that's a goal, assist, penalty one, whatever it is. That's kind of the hope and the strategy behind this. Going with the 2 defenders and the goalkeeper. Massive advantage if they do get the clean sheet. If they don't, I'll be honest, it doesn't look good for you for that game week. It's just as simple as that. It's just not going to be great for you unless Estupinan and Dunk somehow score goals or get clearances off the line or last man tackles. It's going to be very tough for you to really claw back that no clean sheet. But on the game weeks that they do and your players do bang, I think this could be a really interesting way to farm some rewards out of that Premier League 270 Pro League. I think roughly over the last 2 weekends, there's been like 2,000 entrants, and there's 200 prizes there. The ratio, the prize ratio isn't terrible. It's a lot better than the draft, the free-to-play draft, which is 200,000 players for 200 prizes, right? So you're eliminating, a lot of the user base by just buying a couple more limiteds this way. The last player that we are going to add into this is our forward, and we're going to go with Alexander Isak. Quite surprised at his price, to be honest. His floor's at £34. Player that I do really rate. I think Callum Wilson's picked up a little, I think it's like an ankle injury maybe or something, or a calf injury that's going to see him out until the end of February. So it looks like Isak's going to lead the line for Newcastle, who have been incredible recently, although a couple of draws over the last few games haven't been ideal for high scoring or for forwards as such. But yeah, I really rate Isak, and I do think he will get a good stint in this Newcastle team now with the injuries that they've just sort of fell into, unfortunately for them. Well, that does complete our Premier League 270 Pro team. So obviously it'd be those 4 players plus your Robert Sanchez keeper. So the player that I'm going to go into the Premier League semi-pro division with as a limited, my one and only limited, is Andreas Pereira of Fulham. Set piece taker. Very similar profile to Pascal Gross, a little bit younger. Player that I do really rate. His L15 isn't that high. Not that really matters in the semi-pro league. You would combine your 4 commons around him. Andreas Pereira would be a captain. The idea kind of behind this for me, really, with these semi-pro leagues in general, I think you need to, when you are buying that one limited card to fit into these semi-pro leagues, I do think it needs to be somebody that can hit some peak scores, and a player that's on set pieces for me that can get those assists, that can score goals as well, maybe from free kicks and even open play, of course, because Pereira does have a lot of quality in my opinion. I think that player in that semi-pro league really needs to be able to hit peak scores, basically, and I think Pereira falls into that category. At £18, I think it's a decent value for somebody that takes set pieces, like I said, technical, in the number 10 role at Fulham, who, they do score goals, and most of the time, if it's not him, it's Willian, it could be Solomon.
Yeah.
I knew you wanted to be tagged in there with the Solomon shout, but no, I think it's, for what it is, I know he's, double the price of Solomon, but you're getting a player that, almost guaranteed to start every game. He's on set pieces. There's a lot more, involvement in the team. He's established in that sense, and I think for the value, I don't think it's a bad shout at all. Moving on to our Bundesliga semi-pro, we're gonna go with Jonas Hoffmann for Gladbach. International player. I actually watched him play in the World Cup for 5 minutes when they lost against Japan. Really, really good player. £25. He is actually the second most expensive on our list, just behind Isak. Again, set pieces, a vocal point in this Gladbach team. The Bundesliga is crazy. The way me and Quinny always say, there's just goals galore all the time. There's always goals. Yeah. We know that by Hoffenheim and Baumann scores. He'll concede 3, he'll concede 5, he'll concede 1. It's such a high scoring league, it's incredible. And that can only be good for attacking players, right? There's more chance of DHs, more chance of whipping in balls, especially if you're on free kicks, especially if you're on corners. And I'm a big advocate of set piece takers. And I think Hoffmann at £25, you stick him in as your captain in that Bundesliga semi-pro team. I'm not saying you can't go wrong, because he's not going to hit every week, but he's somebody that can hit some peak scores. And yeah, like I said, for £25, I think it's okay value. And then for my semi-pro La Liga team, we're going to be going with Canales, who plays for Real Betis. Again, very similar profile to Jonas Hoffmann, very similar ages, of course Spanish, but again, a set piece taker, a very good player. If he gets a DA, if he gets an assist, if he gets a goal, you are looking at 70s, high 80s. A lot of the time, if you're getting double decisive, then obviously you're probably looking at hundreds quite comfortably. But somebody, like I said, has a very established role within his team. And for £14, I think it's decent value, if I'm being honest. Stick him in as your captain into the semi-pro league. And I think, on game weeks where Betis do well and Canales can get involved in the action there. Honestly, the semi-pro thing is, if your captain completely bangs, you've just got to hope that the other 4 players don't concede 3 goals, i.e. your keeper doesn't concede 3, your defender doesn't concede 3. And I think you can be in a really good, good position, basically, because if your captain scores you, isn't it a 50%? Multiplier?
Yeah, 50%.
Yeah. So, you're looking at, you can max score 150 points, which is absolutely huge. And these types of players, in my opinion, the Hoffmans, Pereiras, Canales, on their day, are capable of scoring like 80 to 100. It's just, you just got to hope that the other 4 players can not so much follow suit. They don't all have to score 80 as well. They might to maybe win the division, but to get in the prizes, I think they've just got to score averagely well, and as long as your captain is really, really peaked, I think that is really the key, and picking those up as my limiteds is kind of my strategy there. And then last but not least, the MLS draft, which isn't out yet, like we said, but the MLS is coming out pretty soon. And I had £10 left over, Gargi, and I went for a Chris Mueller of Chicago Fire, who, to be fair, was really poor in Scotland. But before that in the MLS, he used to play for Chicago Fire, has scored, relatively well. He's not a world beater, hence the price. But, some people do have some high hopes for Chris in this upcoming season. Chicago Fire aren't always the best team in the MLS, but, he is a vocal point for them. He's moved to Europe. It didn't really go as planned, but he's got a lot of experience to offer, even though he's only 26. He's been to Europe, he's come back. I think he will be able to, not sort of lead this team as their captain, but definitely be a vocal point in the attack for them when this season does resume. So yeah, that's what I spent my last £10. You can have a bit of an MLS sweat over the summer.
Yeah.
When the Euro seasons are done. My gallery here is very dependent on Europe, but the aim would be to try and win some rewards from those semi-pro leagues and of course the Pro League, the Premier League Pro League. And, if there's no use for them, or if you don't think that you'll be able to use them, and then obviously, you try and sell them and you try and move them into maybe some Asia or some MLS players or Argentinian, Brazilian, whatever it is, to sort of, carry on playing through the summer, as we like to call it on Sorare. But yeah, that is my gallery. You've seen Jargi's gallery. Now I need you guys to go into the comment section of this video and let us know whose gallery you think's best. Whoever gets the least amount of comments for their gallery being the best gallery will have to give away a card. That's either me or Jargi, of course, and that will just be given away to somebody at random in the comment section. So make sure you do let us know your Sorare gallery name so we can send you over that card. It will be a limited card. It'll be a random one. So yeah, look out for that. Jargi, what do you think of my gallery? I haven't asked you yet.
I think it's great. Yeah. Really interesting. I think following the Prem, like having a Brighton stack, it is the same sort like I have with the Offenheim stack.
Mm-hmm.
You want a team you can follow, you can watch their game, become a fan of them.
Yeah.
And that's something about Sorare that I really like, and I love it.
My thinking was, I'm trying to emulate, a lot of my friends who are, from the UK, if they were to get involved in Sorare, I think the Premier League Limited would be the first sort of call into them, because they're familiar with those cards, right? They understand the Premier League more than any other league for now. But as we know, we end up being fans of all sorts of leagues. Anywhere Opta's covering matches, you'll see me and Jargi there basically. But yeah, that was kind of my thinking. My strategy is get some relatively well-known players down in our gallery and try and compete and try and understand the game from a lower budget perspective. You could probably build. You could definitely build a gallery with £100, and we won't do that today. We've started with 200, but it's not an incredible amount of money to start Sorare with, because I just saw today Kimmich Uniques went for 86,000, right? So there's different levels to this game, but I think with £200, I think we've made it go relatively far. Like, we haven't spent £5 on players like you have in some areas now and again, but we're spending it. Yeah, no, that's not a hit on Udas. I know he's a good player, but I just mean, like, we're buying quality, proven players. Like, we're not buying complete duds.
Something I would like to add is our galleries are templates. You don't need to go and buy like a Brighton stack or an Offenheim stack. But what we and Harry offer is you should buy a stack or a semi-stack, or like I'm telling you to buy international players, so you can have like this template of the gallery and you can follow it. You don't need to start Sorare clueless and like, where should I go? What should I do? You have now two different plans.
Like Jargi said, it's just taking inspiration. This is kind of why
Exactly.
Jargi came to me with the idea, really. It's just, he would get messages in Discords that he's in, like, what do I do with £200? I want to start Sorare. And I think this, the idea of this series is to basically just highlight that. We're just going to go through and try and explain and give sort of rough examples of what we would try and do if we were new to Sorare and had X amount of budget. Today is £200. I'm sure the next video will be maybe 400, maybe 500, whatever it is, and we'll have different guests and whatever. But ultimately, these, we're not saying go and buy these exact players, but this is just what we would do with the money and with that sort of starting capital. The international utility route is something that you could explore. You don't have to. He's just showing you that it is possible on this budget to do that. And like I am trying to show it, the Premier League 270 Pro league is possible, as well as all the other semi-pro leagues. So this is just what we would do. Obviously not financial advice. It's just our opinion, of course. And yeah, hopefully you can take inspiration from it in terms of, coming up with ideas in terms of how you would like to mold your gallery. But yeah, hope you have enjoyed, guys. Leave a like if you did. And like I said, also the comment stuff as well. Let us know whose gallery was better in the comment section. There will be a giveaway next week for that. And yeah, thank you, Georgie, for being my first guest on the Sorare Gallery Builder. And yeah, thank you. Well, most of all, thank you for coming up with the idea, man. I really do appreciate it.
It was really fun.
Amazing. Right, we'll catch you guys later.